What's up? Oh, there was a weird bar. Oh, that was interesting. What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Full Blast. I'm very excited about this one. YouTube, what are you doing? Why are you giving me sensory nonsense? Okay. So today we're talking about taking responsibility. Because we talk a lot about responsibility in the context of objective personality. And I want to dig into that some more. I want to give you my take, my subjective personal take, things that have worked for me when it comes to the concept of responsibility. Because I think it is too easy to go one side of the pendulum to the other side of the pendulum spectrum, whatever. And it becomes a real mess and you start to burn yourself out and it stops being a help. Because like the only use of any of this shit in objective personality is to help you, right? To help you understand yourself, help you understand other people, help you make progress in life. Like whenever we're talking about this stuff, like responsibility, 1% every 3 months, whatever the fuck, it's just a tool. So if it's not working for you, then don't use it. And I want to talk about this responsibility tool, if you want to think of it like that, in a way that hopefully will be as useful as possible to as many people as possible. Okay. So why in the thumbnail am I holding 2 bottles of shampoo? So I talked about this on my personal Facebook channel. I want to talk about it here more specifically in the context of OP, because when I do the videos on my own personal channel, I have to explain everything. I can't just shorthand things. And so like there were so many times when I wanted to be like, it's got some NF and some SF and also the ST and the NT. And like I knew that my audience would be lost. So I'm excited to talk about it with you guys who actually know what the fuck I'm talking about when I just start spouting jargon. So I watch a lot of Queer Eye. That's sort of my comfort food, my thing that I go, like that's my version of The Office. Right. If there's nothing else that I want to do and I just want to like zone out, I'll watch, I'll put Queer Eye on. Right. And in one of the episodes, so I've been, as you can tell, the hair is getting a little long. And now that they've opened the salons in Los Angeles, right, I can start to make appointments and I can start to like take care of my shit a little bit more in the sensory, in a way that I was like actually prohibited from doing for a while, right? And it ended up being a great thing because I used to keep my hair so short, and then it started to grow out, and I was like, man, I kind of like it a little longer. And actually, what actually inspired me, and I'm gonna see if I can find what the video was that like sort of made me go, oh yeah, I gotta just do that. It was in, might have been, I don't think it was John Paul DeJoria. It was one of the ones when they were talking about like the ENTJ hair swoop. God damn it, where was it? John Paul DeJoria doesn't seem right. Class archives. Probably should have done this before I went live. But what are you gonna do? ENTPs. All right, so you got the EJs. It was in the class. It was the one where they were talking about Shannon's dad and Kenny Rogers. And they were talking about, God damn it, what was it? Because I'm looking at the class archives and I don't see it. Whatever. They were talking about the EJ swoop in the hair. And, that I don't not, like I'm not an EJ, but I'm not right. An EJ because of my, because of my activations. And so they started doing this and they pointed out the hair and I was like, oh shit, that's kind of my vibe. Like I definitely don't hate that as far as vibes go. Oh shit. And it got me to start thinking about my hair. I promise there is a reason for this. I promise there's a reason for this. So it got me thinking about my hair. I'm watching the Queer Eye, and I remember there was an episode where he was talking about sodium lauryl sulfate, which is really bad for hair in general. Like it's like the same stuff they use to clean carburetors. And because curly hair is more porous, it frizzes more. So you need you need a softer shampoo with more moisture to make it not frizz out. And I was like, oh shit, okay, piecing all the things together in true NISE fashion. I was like, fuck. So we got this EJ hair swoop thing. I'm about to start thinking about what I want my hair to actually look like moving forward beyond just like the short. And again, that certainly served me for a while when like I didn't have the time or the mental energy or the emotional energy to care about self-care, period, let alone my fucking hair. So we got that, we got the sodium lauryl sulfate, and I was like, fuck, I gotta get new shampoo. So I went to Target and I found this new shampoo. This is the one. Let's see if we can get the glare. So the brand is called Beauty Planet. And this is an argan oil and lavender sulfate-free shampoo. Calming definition for frizzy hair and acts of love for our planet. I love that. I love that. And I used it. Y'all, I felt some things. Like my masculine sensory noticed a difference between this shampoo and the shampoo that I had been using. I was like, oh shit, this is not the same shampoo. And also it smelled like lavender and it made me really happy. And I was like, oh, right. That whole thing where I really like lavender, like I absolutely need to honor the fact that I love lavender. Like, I just got to do it. It is by far, it's my favorite. I don't know that it's my favorite flower visually, but as far as like scent and energy and like perfume, like the perfumey qualities of that I like. And again, I'm not a big scent person. I think partially due to my masculine sensor. I'm like, scent, perfume, who the fuck cares? But lavender gets me. Lavender's like the one thing that my masculine sensor is like, you're fine. Fine. You get to come in. The rest of you stay the fuck out. So I was washing my hair and I was like feeling my hair and feeling the lavender and feeling the feelings and feeling the EJ swoop. I'm really upset that I can't find what fucking video it's on. I'm like, blows my mind. I don't know. Yeah, it's not the Chris Voss video because he's an IJ. Whichever one it was. I started to just think about all these things of like, I need to take responsibility for lavender. That was like the thing that stuck in my head. And it sort of got me on this path of thinking about like taking responsibility, period. Right? And it got me thinking about my hair. And this is the first time ever that I have signed up for, have gone to, have wanted to go to like an actual, real, expensive as fuck hair style, like hair artist type person, right? I usually will get, just, somebody at like, not like a Supercuts, but like normal salon, kind of run of the mill salon type place where you go. It's somebody who they have a facility with curly hair, but like it's fine. And because I usually want it short anyway, there's not much they have to do. But this time I'm like, no, like I actually know what I want. I like in the SF realm, I actually know what the fuck I want. which means that because I have worked on my SF, I have to raise my SF expectations bar with everything around me, right? Because my NT is like, super dominant, my bar for NT is pretty fucking high. It's part of why I like hanging out with Dave and why I like hearing Dave talk, because not only do we have the same NT blast, but his is double activated. Mine is, they're both saviors. So like, and also just communication style, we both communicate at a pretty objectively high level. Our bar is very high. And so we can actually go toe to toe with each other and make a lot of headway because our bar for blasting into NT is really high. But my SF bar was pretty low for a while. It wasn't it wasn't bad, certainly not by lead NT standards, but like it wasn't great. I'm no Aaron Alexander. I'm not ISFP, double activated consume guy, right? But it is not on the ground. The bar is no longer on the ground. And as my bar has been raising for SF, that means that I need to be cognizant of what other SF I let into my life. I remember back in the day on IDR Labs, back when it was called Celebrity Types, they typed Jamie Oliver, not Jamie Oliver. Is that the guy? The chef guy. Yeah, Jamie Oliver. John Oliver is the news guy. They typed him as an ESFP, and they were talking about how he was like, yeah, I know, like, he's an ESFP, even though he's really precise about things and likes things very exact. You can be a lead SE and still care about nuance and detail, and that's part of why he is so meticulous about it, is because he has seen, they didn't say it like this, but they're like, he's looking at all the spectrum of all sensory and is able to rank the sensory extrovertedly. And so he holds his SF to a very, very high standard, right? And I'm like, oh, I need to start doing that too. Like, now that I have worked on my SF and actually have a sense of what SF energy I have and want to bring into the room and how I want other people to see me in the interest of them seeing the most authentic version of me on all of that shit, right? I'm like, the person I was going to, I don't think is going to cut it. Not that she is a bad hairstylist by any means. I have no idea how good of a hairstylist she is, but I know for sure that she's my SF for what I need. I don't think she can. I don't trust her to do what I need her to do with where my SF is now, right? I have to go to somebody. And the guy that I found, like, he's in Beverly Hills. He like does celebrities or whatever. Even though when you call the number on Google Maps, it's just his fucking cell phone. So I don't know what that's all about. But regardless, I was like, I actually need to be responsible for how good my hair looks, because, right? So it's May now. In September, October, so like May, June, July, in like 3 or 4 months, I'm going to have to get new headshots, which means, again, as we're coming out of the quarantine and I can actually start to go to the gym again and start to like not just eat, I'm doing a lot less comfort food eating, like, again, slowly easing back into being a person. Like, now is the time, to really start taking responsibility for the SF. And I think that that's really important to sort of know where you are on. Like, we talk a lot about these functions and these animals and whatever, being like you're driving a car and this is your front console and you're just monitoring to make sure that all the levels are good, right? And this is sort of that thing of like, you know what? I substantially replaced the gas tank, right, and the whole gas system in there. And I need better gas. Like, I need a minimum of, an 89 grade gas. I don't need necessarily a 91 or a 93, but like 85, 87 is not going to cut it for what I need for my SF now, right? And so that's sort of the first aspect, I think, of what taking responsibility really means. It means knowing where you're at and honestly being able to set the bar wherever the fuck that is. Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't, but being really honest about your needs relative to your growth is crucial. And that's what I think is not going to keep you stagnant, right? Because now you're not just growing for the sake of growing, right? I talk a lot about, so I went to Equinox for years in New York. Granted, I was making a lot more money in New York than I was in not New York, just because of how the economy works in New York. And so I moved out to LA and I still had my membership and I used it for like a month and I was like, I don't need this. Like, the level of precision, fitness, vibe, whatever, my SF just isn't that high. I don't need to go to Equinox. But as a side note, it's why my mom has always loved Equinox and wanted me to go. Like, there's no Equinox in Albuquerque, but like, she would go to Equinox if there was an Equinox in Albuquerque, right? And I'm now realizing, oh, right, because Equinox has such a high SF bar that she actually would appreciate that and actually need it in a way that I don't, right? But I have a vastly higher ST bar than she does. So I need, right? It's just different boxes that I know that I need checked. And now that my SF is improving, that is raising the bar in other places of my life. Now, to be clear, it doesn't mean that I get to do all of the things. Part of why I'm able to go and am choosing to go to a more expensive hairstylist is because I'm budgeting a lot more tightly in other parts of my life. I am saving a lot more money when it comes to food, when it comes to eating out. I don't drink. I think I got coffee out once. I got a couple of Starbucks because I happened to have money on there from like however, many months ago. And I had a bunch of stars and I got free drinks, but I basically just like maxed out that card and I haven't touched it. But other than that, I got one coffee out this entire month. That is unheard of for me. I would be getting like 2 or 3 a week and just like going ham on it, right? Well, now that I'm saving this money, I'm like, oh, right. If I'm saving money here, that means I can invest this money elsewhere. And yeah, I do want to invest it in nicer hair care products and in going to the salon. And eventually, once I start tutoring more and making more money, getting more massages and doing more of that, like mani-pedis more frequently, right? So like the higher my SF bar gets raised, the more I need to take responsibility for the fact that my SF bar is higher. And in order to honor that, that means cutting back on things that don't matter to me as much, right? So that's sort of my first category of like, what does responsibility really mean? It requires a really honest self-assessment of like, what do you need? What are you actually working towards? And again, the thing you need may not be within your reach now, but now you're working towards something, right? Now it's like, oh man, I want to take care of my hair, but I feel that I can't afford the cost of the beauty products that I want, right? So if that matters to you, and if you're like, I need to just like, this is just where my SF bar is, and it matters that it's there, looking for other ways to be like, okay, let me lay out the expenses. Let me see where I'm spending money. Because I basically need, I'm telling myself I need an extra $16 a month for the kind of shampoo that I need. All right, where's that $16 coming from? What is everything I'm spending money on? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. There's like $16 a week that could be fixed between coffee and eating out. Great. I now no longer get to say that I can't afford the shampoo that I want because that's flatly untrue. It just means that I need to honor my actual priorities, not my dumb bullshit priorities, right? And I think that that is a form of taking responsibility. That is a form of owning the fact that, like, look, my SF is a demon. My standards are lower than they would be for, you know, NT and ST, but they're not on the ground anymore. And if I keep the bar there, and if I keep aiming for that lower bar, then I'm not going to actually grow it. Because here's the funny thing that happened, obviously, to any SF user. I started using this, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck. I really like this. All right. So now I have to start thinking about, like, beauty products in general. And starting to think about, like, okay, in terms of skincare. So, like, the next thing that I'm going to be investing in and researching is, like, a nice pomade, right? Because I've been using gel. I don't love gel. It's really harsh. It makes my curls more defined than I like them, and a little bit too crispy, crunchy. The year is not 1999. My name is not Justin Timberlake, and it is not gonna be May. So, like, I don't want the fucking ramen noodle haircut because that's not what my hair does. It's not what I want to do. I want sort of like a nice, relaxed EJ swoop wave. I don't know what to fucking tell you. I love the EJ swoop, man. That's like kind of my jam in a lot of ways. I don't know what to tell you. I super dig it. Right. And so now that I've raised the bar, I am now aware that the bar can be raised. And I'm like, motherfucker. All right. This is it. This is what growth looks like. I now have to give a shit about this motor. I think I'm going to fuck up this analogy. Dave got it right, where it's the animals are the motor and the functions are the batteries. And each of the batteries are powering a motor. And so now that I've always wanted to care about the SF motor, right? Because I have SF third, but my SE and my FI would just get overheated really quickly. But now that I'm, like, growing those two batteries, I'm like, oh shit. Now these batteries are outpowering the motor. And so now I need to replace the motor so that it is commensurate with the quality of my SEFI batteries. And that's really cool. That's a really, really cool thing to have happen. But it also means that you have to be aware of the ways in which you're growing and make adjustments accordingly. Then there's the other side of responsibility. And again, I haven't spoken in depth with Dave and Shan about this, so I genuinely have no idea how they feel. The vibe that I have gotten is that taking responsibility for everything means working towards being able to take responsibility for everything at the highest level. And I don't know if that is what they mean, but that's certainly the vibe that I have gotten. And it could very well be me projecting my own perfectionist bullshit onto them, and I'm just putting words in their mouth. So like caveat there. Regardless, I don't think that that's certainly not what I mean. Because I think like, so my analogy for this is I care deeply about my hair. Like, I own the SF of my hair. Like, I'm locked in. I get it. I totally get it. That does not mean that I'm going to cut my own hair or learn to cut my own hair. That's stupid. No, I need to outsource this, right? And I need to do so strategically. And here's where I know that they've talked about this and where we do very much align. Don't outsource it to a numbskull. Like, if you're going to outsource one of your functions, one of your animals, one of your whatever, you better make goddamn sure that they know what the fuck they're doing and that you trust them, which means that you need to know enough about the thing that you're trying to do and know exactly where your limitations are, right? And again, eventually you're going to want to build up those skills over years and decades or whatever. Great, fine. But like in the meantime, you gotta go, you know what? I know that the amount of SF that I need currently eclipses the amount of SF that I am able to bring to the table. Therefore, but because I understand what I need and because I understand the disparity between what I need and where I'm at, in the meantime, I'm gonna lean on someone else to fill in that gap with the goal of continuing to elevate. So for instance, just the conversations that I'm now able to have about SF with other SF people, it's just higher than it was. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you put me in a room with Aaron Alexander, I am not saying that we would be besties, but like, I would be able to like hang with him. I really do. I really feel like I'd be able to hang with Aaron Alexander on an SF level. He would certainly be better than me. Absolute, no doubt fucking whatsoever. But I don't feel like if we were in the same room together, I would just be completely outmatched, right? And so now when I go to these hairstylists, I'm not like, well, I don't know. I'm a INTJ Blaster guy. I don't know. Make my hair look pretty. Apparently, INTJ Blaster guy is Melissa Villaseñor doing a Mickey Mouse impression. But whatever, right? Because if I go in with that, then the expert SF person doesn't actually know what I want because I haven't fucking told them, right? If I just say to them, you know, before what I would say is I like it short on the sides and like not too long on the top, but like frame my face, right? Okay, that's fine. That's certainly better than, I don't know, make me look like not an INTJ, right? But what I can say now that I have like worked on it and thought about it and like SF consumed a lot of haircuts, I can say, okay, so here's what I know that I like. I know that I need to bring the sides in to elongate my face. I don't love this clumping in the back, but I also know that I want my whole head to have a lot of body to it. I do want to start. I don't own a roller brush yet, but I have a hair dryer. I'm definitely open to doing like the roller brush hair dryer thing. I do want a pomade. I don't love a gel for XYZ reasons. And honestly, like as much length on top as you can leave, I am very fine with. But again, the goal is balance, and I know that I don't want the sides super super tight because I want there to be a nice gradient from the sides to the top. Right? That is not a thing that I ever would have been able to say. I'm going to say even 3 months ago. Certainly not 6 months ago, and not even fucking close to when I was in LA. I could have like blaster bullshitted it, but like it would not have been the same, right? And again, I am sure that as I get more comfortable with my hair and understanding what it wants to do and what I want it to do, and to like actually reflect my, I want the SE to reflect my FI, right? In like a really honest, organic, thoughtful, deliberate, considerate way. Even what I just said is probably going to get modified 3 to 6 months down the road, just because I'm going to have a broader knowledge base, a better self-understanding, and just more facility with SF in general, so that I can, more confidently and comfortably ask for what I want, because I have taken responsibility for continuing to raise my own bar, right? But I do want to draw the distinction that taking responsibility for everything is different from you have to be able to do everything yourself. I play music, right? Play the guitar, I sing, working on the piano. That's been gathering a little more dust than I've let lately. What are you going to do? But like, that's like a big thing that I do. I am so bad at music production, it would blow your mind. Like, I am deeply, deeply not good at the production side of music when it comes to like doing the Pro Tools and the filters and the mixing and the like, even honestly, even on like a vaguely passable level, I'm not very good. So does that mean that I have to learn how to do that? If I want to be a musician, I have to learn how to do all of it. Maybe yes, maybe no. The fact of the matter is, learning that does not interest me. It does not inspire me. That is not a skill that I actually give a shit about. That is something that I am consciously outsourcing to somebody who knows way more than I do and that I could ever care to, right? I recently went to go make this is back in February, I made a wedding present for some good friends of mine, recorded a couple of songs, went to a very fancy LA studio because that you can just rent studios out here for like not a ton of money that like fancy people go to. Like the guy who recorded me recorded Camila Cabello's Havana, by which I mean he literally recorded her vocal track for the song Havana. And he was just like the regular guy there, whatever, nicest guy in the world. But I was like, you know what? For the quality that I want for this project, I absolutely cannot achieve that by myself. Can't do it. Can't do it now. Can't do it in 6 months. Probably can't do it in the amount of time. Like anybody else, there will always be a surplus of people who are just going to be better at it than me in perpetuity because that's what they do and that's what they love and that's what they care about. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking outsource that. I'm not trying to like, again, because it isn't a goal of mine, right? It's me recognizing, all right, this is what I bring to the table. here's what I need someone else to bring to the table. And now together we're collaborating and making something that honestly, I think we both can be really proud of. We had like a really deeply excellent time in the studio together, just like figuring out how to put this little project together. It wasn't a hard project, right? It took about 8 hours of recording time, including, mixing and, a little bit of, I don't even think there was any mastering, but it was basically just like mixing all the tracks, recording them all, doing all the things, whatever. But there was a really clear understanding of like, great, this is what I'm gonna bring to the table. Like, I am producing this. I am providing the instruments and the singing. And we are running the show together. And here's what I need you to do to fill in my gap. And where a lot of people, I think, go wrong with the responsibility train is they will think, just throwing myself under the bus here. It's like, well, I'm NTST. So I'm going to make someone else take care of all of the SFNF, right? But that's a real problem when you give them agency over the beginning of that project, right? Because then you can get trapped into habits where it's like, well, this is always just what I've grown accustomed to because I didn't set the bar where I needed to at the beginning and then went out to try to seek out whatever. Like, I'm always going to, that's what, when we talk about like being at the mercy of somebody else, that's what we're talking about, right? When you let someone else set the bar for you, regardless of whether or not that's right for you, now you're fucked, right? And I realize that that is a very like savior TEDE sort of response, but I think that it's something that is true for a lot of different cases, right? If my standards for SF are only set by the outside world, well, then that's what I'm going to try to adhere to. And that may or may not serve me, right? But now I can go, okay, so I have not read Michael Gerber E-Myth, where he talks about like the workers, the middle managers, the entrepreneurs, right? And how you have to be able to go seamlessly between all three roles. The reason for that is that it doesn't mean that an entrepreneur has to be better than the best worker. It doesn't mean that a middle manager has to be a better entrepreneur than the best entrepreneurs and the best worker. Like, it doesn't work like that. What it does mean is that the entrepreneur, or let's say the middle manager, because I love the middle manager. I'm all about middle management, man. Like, I love it. I love it. And when you find an insanely good middle manager, you won't even notice they're there. Shit will just work and the trains will just magically always be running on time and nobody will have any idea why, but everyone will just like it, right? And the reason why I think like a bad middle manager is really, really obvious and a good middle manager is completely invisible. So if you don't know who your boss is, like if you're not a middle manager and you know that your boss is a middle manager and you have no idea where they are or what they do, but things just kind of work, I guarantee you that it is not because the system magically works. It's because there is a middle manager who understands enough about your role as the worker and enough about the entrepreneurial, like what the CEO entrepreneurial abstracty person does, and is able to like bridge that gap where it's like the CEO will like spout random abstract nonsense because they're the entrepreneurial lucky visionary. The middle manager then has to take that, translate it into boots on the ground worker speak, and communicate the entrepreneurial vision in a day-to-day sort of way. Well, you can't do that if you don't understand and respect what the entrepreneur is going for and what the day-to-day workers are going for. And I think that the same can be true about your functions. I don't know, like, for so long, I was like, SF, that's not, no, someone else will take care of that. That is not the void that I want to fill in life. Same with NF in a lot of ways. I was like, I don't want to fill that void. Other people are better at it. So like, let them fill that void for me and I'll just be along for the ride and I'll fill the voids for them, right? That's really great as long as I know what I'm looking for in the NFSF realm. Because if I say to this person that I'm working with, that I am collaborating with on a music project, on my hair, let's go back to my hair, right? The more clear I can be about what I want from my hair, the more the hair SF artist actually knows if they can help me or not. And he or she may say, you know what? Based on what you want, I don't think I'm the guy. My expertise is really among, it really is more, it's more women's hair. I can do men's hair, but generally I go for a simpler cut. You seem to really know what you want, and I want to make sure that you get what you want for the money you're paying. I think, you know what? I'm going to recommend you to my friend. He's the guy. He is like, he does not do women. Like, we share clients. If he gets a woman referral, he sends it me. Male referral, I send it to him. Like, trust me, he's the guy, right? And now, okay, sure, there's a little bit of trust, and you want to assume that people aren't going to dick you over, but like at some point, you just have to trust the outside world a little bit, and be able to sniff through bullshit and see if they like actually know what they're doing, whatever. But you can't even get to that point if you haven't owned your own SF. And if you don't have an idea of like, no, this is the SF that I'm going for. I'm not like, I want a little bit of, like, I want swoop. I want body. I want fullness. I want thickness. I want texture. I want that vibe, right? And then and then here's where my SF taps out. Do I need a Brazilian blowout? Fuck, I don't know. That is above my SF understanding. Based on what I've consumed, I don't think so. I don't think that's my truth. But like, again, and I think I can get an authentic expression of myself through my hair without a Brazilian blowout. So I'm not going to do it. But if this guy says after we talk, he's like, look, I think that if you're willing to try it, I think it will look really, really good. And I think that it'll be like an interesting vibe for you based on what you have told me that you're going for. And again, now we're having an SF conversation that I can either be on board with or not. But at least now it's a conversation instead of, oh, no, I'm NT guy. You're the SF. You are the SF genius. Do with me what you think is best. That's too much. That's too much. Let's say they are the most well-meaning, brilliant artist ever. They don't know your truth. They don't know what you want, like the energy you want to bring into the room. Because for years, the energy I was bringing into the room was not the energy I wanted to bring into the room. And so but I didn't know how to close that gap. And now that I know the energy I want to bring into the room, now if somebody says to me, I don't think that's your vibe, I can say, fair enough. You are allowed to disagree. I'm going to go to somebody who gets me. No harm, no foul. You seem great. I'll talk to you later. Right? That's taking responsibility. That's understanding where your limits are and where they aren't, and being able to navigate that and be able to intelligently and thoughtfully and humanely get what you want because you know what you need. So I think that this concept, just to sort of tie this up, I think that the concept of responsibility is a really, really important one. But I don't think it is as cut and dry as, well, I have to be an A+ level at NT, ST, SF, and NF all the time, every day. I don't think that's realistic. I think you're going to burn out. But you have to have a fundamental respect for all of the parts, for all of the animals, for all of the modalities, for all of the sectors. Like, you just have to have a profound respect and understanding of each of these things. And then when it comes time to execute, now you can go, okay, what can I do? What can I not do? How can I best meet my goals both right now and in the future? Weigh these things out, whatever. That's now we're in fairy dust land, right? But there's I'll end with a quote from Queer Eye. Karamos, he talks about his grandmother a lot, his granny, because she was this like wise Jamaican woman, apparently, like this sage-like Jamaican woman, and I just adore her. And one thing that the parent evidently she always said is plan, do, ask for help. And I think that that's a really important order to do it in. You got to plan, you got to understand, you got to respect what it is you're undertaking here, and owning the darkness and owning the light and understanding that interplay. Like, you gotta own that. Then you got to start doing something, right? In this case, I'm obviously not going to start chopping my hair off, but I am going to go out and buy some better beauty products. I am going to start to understand my hair better and learn what it wants to do and how it wants to express what I am feeling and my identity. And then third, now I'm going to ask for help. Now I'm like, you know what? For what I need, I just can't do it alone. I need this guy, because I looked at his portfolio and he fucking gets it. So yeah, now I'm at the stage where I got to ask for help, and I'm happy to do so. All right, that's all I got for today. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.